Hi guys, hope you're all okay. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining me today for another video. So in this video I want to talk about a topic that will hopefully answer a lot of the questions that I get asked on most of my videos. We're going to be looking at the reason today why you should always program a radio when you buy it. So two-way radio is still big business in most countries across the world, and two-way radios are still used by different businesses and organisations for things like security, workplace communications, event management, and of course people use them for leisure like outdoor hiking, keeping in touch with friends and things like that. Amateur radio being one of those hobbies. And you can pick up two-way radios across the internet now really easily. eBay, AliExpress, Alibaba, Amazon, all those websites will supply two-way radios easily. You can just go online, order, pay, and it comes to your house. Of course, two-way radio comes in all sorts of different shapes and sizes and all sorts of different prices, but £10 or $10 if you're in the US can get you a 16 channel, less than 5 watt handheld for UHF. And you can take it out of the box and transmit. And things like scramble, flashlight, high power, long range, and all those sorts of taglines are used to entice people to buy these radios. Now, of course, some of the cheaper radios still have things like DMR functionality, DPMR functionality. They have encryption, scramblers. They can record and play back QSOs. And more are flooding the market all the time. Which is great for the hobby, but it also carries a bit of a downside. So many online stores and websites will use the tagline license free, and that'll entice somebody to go and buy and think, yeah, I can use these straight out the box without a license, but that isn't always the case. License free means different things in different countries. So if you're in the UK, license free means a different thing to if you're in the USA. And things like power output and various operating conditions change depending on which country you're in. And many radios being sold in the US market require FCC certification. Now, for a lot of manufacturers, this is put on the radios without actually having FCC certification, and a lot of customers actually don't know what this involves when they buy a radio. So that can make a radio illegal to use in the USA straight away. And depending on your country, a license may be required to use different frequencies, different bands, and different areas of the radio spectrum for leisure, marine, amateur radio, commercial use, and all sorts of different types of user. So most of the cheap two-way radios you buy online can be used straight out of the box physically. They can be taken out of the box, switched on, and you can keep the PTT. And if you buy them in pairs, they'll usually talk to each other. Now these radios are programmed with a pre-programmed set of test frequencies which is done at the factory for quality control. And these frequencies can start as little as 400 MHz and be as high as sort of 480, 490 and sometimes even 500 MHz. Now these test frequencies often sit outside any of the bands that the radio is actually designed to be used on, such as the 70cm band, PMR 446, FRS and GMRS. And these can also sit in commercial bands where licensed users actually pay a fee, monthly or yearly, or every 5 years, to actually use those frequencies. So actually using these radios out of the box can have legal implications and can cause interference to other license paying users. So before you buy, think about why you want to use this radio. If you're buying for the amateur radio bands, then you can safely assume that with the training you've had to get your license, you know which frequencies you should be transmitting on as part of your licensing conditions and you'll be fine. If you're not a licensed radio amateur, then maybe something like PMR 446 is a thing that you should be looking at. These are license-free radios that run half a watt and are ideal for keeping in touch with friends and family at short distances, site communications, work, security and things like that. And these fall actually within the license-free category because the radios are sold and programmed with a set of restrictions which make them legal to use on the PMR 446 band. The equivalent of this in other countries is FRS and GMRS, which is free radio service and general mobile radio service. I hope I got that right. And these radios come programmed with a pre-programmed set of frequencies designed for use on that band, again which makes them license-free. So a really important thing to do before clicking buy is to make sure you can get the programming cable and the software for these radios. I come across radios all the time on different auction websites, different retailers such as eBay, Amazon, and they actually sell some really interesting and cool looking radios. But the problem is some of the manufacturers don't release their programming software and you don't always know which programming cable is going to work. Now a lot of radios out there use the Kenwood style Bofeng style communications cables, which are ideal for programming, but software can sometimes be a bit of a pain to get hold of, so make sure you can get hold of it first. If I'm ever buying something off eBay or Amazon, I always email the seller to make sure that they have the programming software, which is going to be readily available to download and use, and is going to allow me to program those radios, because if you don't, you can't program them up, and then anyone who doesn't know about this sort of topic will just buy a set of radios, open them, use them straight out of the box, and this is where the problem starts. So most reputable radio manufacturers such as Retevis, Bofeng, Radio Odyssey, TYT, and of course the big brands like Yaesu, Kenwood, ICOM, and all that sort of thing, they all have pages on their website where you can download the programming software. Radios often come with programming cables, and if not, the programming cable is available to purchase on the website, and that makes it really easy to get your radio set up once you receive it. Chirp is also a really good piece of free software which covers more and more radios all the time, so it's always a good idea to download that and have a look in the menus and see if you can find the radio that you're looking at buying. And if you can't find the required software and cable, it's always a good idea to steer clear, because this means you're going to find it very hard to program the radio, and you'll be transmitting on those pre-programmed test frequencies. And of course the final bit, which I hope I've already made clear in this video, is when your radio arrives, you should program it. If you're a licensed amateur, you can input the frequencies which are covered within your licensing conditions. If you have a commercial business license for radio, then you can input those frequencies as well. And unfortunately, everywhere else is pretty much out of bounds and requires a license to be used. So I hope this video helped. A lot of people ask this question on the videos that on my channel all the time, almost daily. Do I need a license for this? Do I need to program it? Is it license free? Where can I get the programming cable and software from, and things like that? So I thought I would make this video just to sort of wrap that question up once and for all. Before I leave you, a couple of people have sent me audio recordings lately from all sorts of different times in the past, recent ones from different bands, interesting recordings, unknown recordings. So I thought I would save them up and make a video on them. So if you have any recordings that you would like featured of stuff you've heard, something that might be interesting, something you feel may be good to put as part of this compilation video of interesting and unusual and unknown and strange recordings from the radio, if you have any, then send them to me. The email is ringwaymanchester@mail.com. You can see it on the screen below, and maybe if we get enough in, I'll make a little series of videos on this topic, but a few people have asked about it, so I thought I would throw it out there. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any comments, suggestions or questions, then drop them in the box below. And as always, all that's left to say is 7-3, and we'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.